Yo, what's up guys, welcome back. So new Red Dragon Archfiend support, so let's try it out. I think this is the last card that was revealed from the structure deck, so I think the full structure deck is known. I think so, again, correct me if I'm wrong. The last card that was revealed was Crimson Gaia. It's the new continuous card, continuous spell for, Red Dragon, the archetype. Which, most important cards, I guess it searches out here in this particular deck list is one of the new ones as well. They are Stratos, I guess, the one next to the, what is it, the bone, the Fiend type, you know which one I mean. And of course a trap, one of the new traps. I think one of the newest traps that was revealed is basically very similar to one of the branded traps. It basically pops a card from your opponent, so that's pretty solid. Plus it's basically also a Call of the Haunted, which also reborns like a banished Red Dragon Archfiend. So that's pretty cool actually. And again, searchable off of this continuous spell. And as you know, the continuous spell is searchable by one of the new level 2. So this deck is Google.deck, very similar to Necros, where every card searches the other searches, you know what I mean. So like going first, nothing really changes too much other than this new continuous spell being searchable by the new level 2, and again the new level 2, one of the two copies in my hand, which of course they are tuner, a fiend type tuner as well, so they're searchable by the other gazillion rotas that the deck has. So it's kind of insane, at least the consistency and searchability of like basically the entire deck. And you also had that new Earthbound monster as well, which basically searches every, like tuner from your deck. So, like, the consistency is high. Problem, though, is that the deck still has a couple of choke points. And as you know, the most important one is the dragon, the level 6 dragon, the one that reborns your Crimson, I guess, and, Crimson special summons 2 from the deck, etc. Then again, it's not really a big deal if your opponent, let's say, imperms that or Ash Blossoms that. Depends on, which cards I mentioned before, but I mean, the deck still has a couple of extenders, but the thing is that if your opponent prevents that, you need to synchro summon in a fair way, but, you want to special summon those tuners from the deck, etc. So this match was insane. Like, look at this, my board, like, full synchros, and that's the thing with Red Dragon. It's super easy to go for those level 8, 9, level 10 synchros, but small downside is that most of them don't really do anything. Sure, you have this Pater, but that's not a Red Dragon card, but okay, it's a monster effect negation, very similar to Bane, I believe, or Hot Rats, the one that negates a phase-up card. So that's cool. But that's basically it, and that's also one of the weaknesses, I guess. So here, no battle phase. Problem though is that Chaos Angel, is it Chaos Angel? Yeah, as its full effect intact, so all synchros are protected. The field spell is there, but this draw kinda hurts me a little bit, but I think it hurts Runic more. Or no, the draw engine was used. Okay, but again, I guess Tip cannot be activated here in this situation, so it still hurts, right? So I need to recover, and that's where the secret effect of this continuous spell comes into play. I take control of the horrors that gives your opponent like draws equal to the names of different monsters in your main monster zone. Small mistake. Again, draw is an effect, so it didn't really matter too much. I just needed to take control of Chaos Angel, but again, it doesn't really matter because of that continuous spell. As soon as your Red Dragon Archfiend declares an attack, you can Book of Eclipse all monsters from your opponents. So that's nice. And as you know, Red Dragon has like that effect that it finally comes in useful, that when it like battles, like what is it, at the end of the damage step, destroy all defense position monsters from the opponent. I think it's something like that. Okay, so here in this case, again, your level 6 synchro is getting negated. So there are some follow-up plays, and I guess this new spell searcher kind of helps, because here in this case, sure, if your level 8 synchro, the new Red Dragon leaves the field, you can special summon the OG Red Dragon, plus there is one pop here in this situation, plus a potential hand trap. Oh, the deck list. You saw the deck list, is that it might seem strange, like one Nip, what is it, 2 Ash, 1 Imperm, but it's super obvious because of Crossout, right? I'm still a fan of Crossout in this deck because Droll first of all, Droll is like you can compare this deck with Necros, what is it, 80-90% of this deck like searches each other basically, you know what I mean. So Droll is kind of big against this deck, and of course the well-timed Ash, the well-timed Imperm, stuff like that. Nip, of course, big one against this particular deck. Going second, as you saw, I'm main decking Dark Ruler. I think it's a staple this format, especially obviously if you're going second, you need a Dark Ruler to, you know, at least have a chance against established boards. This deck, I feel, I mean, maybe with some specific hands you could potentially force out interruptions. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, Dark Ruler just facilitates the game state, and I think you need it. It counts for other decks as well. Thrust is also another option. And that brings me with Prosperity. Prosperity is there. Do I need to explain Prosperity? Yeah, maybe. I mean, going first, it kind of could potentially dig for the correct extender. Let's say if your opponent imperms you, ashes you, or more hand traps, Prosperity is there to potentially extend or give you the right extender. Or going second, obviously it helps you dig for Dark Ruler, right? Or, you know, other cards you might need, like Thrust if you main deck that, or maybe Talons, you know, like the good stuff. So, and I think you can somewhat miss some of the extra deck cards, like, you know, the Synchros. I'm looking at Prosperity, but is it needed? No, probably not. But I guess, you know, it kind of increases the consistency of the deck a little bit, even though, you know, there are so many searches. I mean, you know, the potential right extender, as in, what is it, the Bone Fiend one, or maybe one of the other level 4 extenders, you know, you might not this might not have opened with those, so potentially extending with them might help out. But it's not really mandatory, right, those Prosperities. So that brings me with Bestials. I tried Bestials. Problem again is that I need to find space, and I have like no space in the main deck. Or I need to drop like you know, like my non-engine cards, and I'm looking at Crossout, I'm looking at Dark Ruler, maybe some hand traps, because Bestials are you know, are hand traps on their own. But I'm not so sure about that. I kind of prefer Crossout Dark Ruler over Bestials. Problem is that, like Bestials, they are obviously level 6, potential interruptions, not guaranteed interruptions, depends somewhat on the matchup as well from your opponent. It kind of facilitates the level 8 synchro play, level 10 synchro play. You could go for King Calamity, and you know, and that's, I feel, the big problem is, if you're running Bestials, you might want to add in those traps as well. You know, the Branded Beast, what is it? The one that pops, and the one that gives you the synchro capabilities during your opponent's turn, you know, King Calamity, etc. But you're adding, at least that's my experience with the deck, you're adding in so many traps. Like, let's say if you're going first and you open with like 1 or 2 traps, you're like, you know, that's not, this is a super combo oriented deck, and the choke points of the deck, I feel, with this new support, it doesn't really change that much. Sure, it's not the end of the world if your opponent prevents your Crimson from going off, you know, special summoning 2 tuners from the deck. But you know, you want to synchro summon by an unfair way, as in more advantage, more tuners for free from the deck. And like here in this case, like the Crossout did nothing. That's the thing. Going second, it's not a guaranteed negation, and that's maybe the reason why you could maybe drop Crossout, but I mean, Troll is still kind of big. You know, generic Nip, that's the thing, right? So, you know, it's a conflict. Somewhat of a struggle. So last example, going first, the deck is obviously superb. Here the Crossout was needed to prevent, you know, Troll from resolving. Here in this case, I think things speaks for themselves. You can end on, you know, a very standard generic board for the deck with like, what is it, Dispater, Hot Red to negate any face-up card from your opponent, and maybe Bane as well, and then depends on the extenders. I mean, the thing is that, and that's, you know, like the weakness of this deck, it kind of locks you into, what is it, Dark Dragon types for the rest of the entire turn. Otherwise, you would have been able to, you know, Baron, Chaos Angel, they are there, simply because of the potential follow-up play. That's why I like double Dispater. Oh yeah, one last thing. I'm not running any of the higher level Red Dragon synchros, right? Like the, what is it, the Red Nova, you know, those. I guess you could definitely add them in. I was running the Crimson one, the level 12 that you can, what is it, tribute it to kind of cheat out. I was running that at some point, the Majestic Stardust Dragon. It should be here in the extra deck, which is cute, but it's taking up too much extra deck space, and I kind of prefer more generic level 8, 9, 10 synchro. So that's why I'm not running the higher level ones, level 11, level 12, but I guess you could find a space for that. But personally, I'm not a huge fan of Calamity because there are so many ways to, by opponent, by prevent it from you getting off that effect, and by going for the synchro summon during your opponent's turn, so I don't feel it's worth it. But that's my experience. So okay, all suggestions are definitely welcome. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. I'll leave them signing out. Peace.